Hook 05S. Imagine slashing just 20% off your everyday calories and seeing your chronic inflammation drop by half. Authority 510S. Hey, I'm Walter Crane, a biomedical writer who's been digging into longevity studies for the past decade, trying to make the science relatable. Agenda 1015S. Stick around and I'll break down the science of calorie restriction, walk you through the tiny habits I adopted, and share the raw numbers from my 30-day self-test. Disclaimer 1530S. Just so you know, I'm not a doctor. Everything I recommend is drawn from open access studies and what I've seen work for me. Before you tweak your eating or workout plan, have a chat with a qualified health professional. Verse Source 3045S. According to the National Institute on Aging, cutting calories consistently pushes back age-related diseases in animal studies by easing metabolic stress. Source: NIH research on caloric restriction. Bold claim 4555S. So here's the plan for the next 30 days. Knock down chronic inflammation, one of aging's main culprits, using just diet, rest, activity, and a few stress-busting tricks. Micro habit montage 5570S. Each morning, I kick off with a glass of filtered water, a simple habit that supports cellular hydration and helps clear out waste. After that, I make sure to log at least 7 hours of sleep, since solid rest powers cellular repair and reins in inflammatory hormone. Source: Harvard Sleep and Healthy Aging. Around midday, I get moving, either a brisk 30-minute walk or a fast body weight circuit. That steady aerobic work spikes mitochondrial efficiency and trims inflammatory markers, key for slowing biological aging. Source: Mayo Clinic exercise. In the evening, I serve up a Mediterranean-style meal: olive oil, leafy greens, nuts, and fish. That diet, packed with polyphenols and good fats, lines up with a reduced risk of age-related cognitive decline. Source: NIH Mediterranean Diet. Right before lights out, I do a 5-minute breathing routine, a proven way to cut cortisol and in turn inflammation. Source: CDC Stress Coping. Why inflammation matters 7085S. Chronic, low-grade inflammation, often dubbed inflammaging, quietly speeds up heart disease, neurodegeneration, and metabolic problems. When our immune system stays on high alert, it chips away at tissue integrity, shortens telomeres, and messes with the very systems that keep us feeling young. The experiment setup 85100S. I set up a 30-day self-experiment to see if a modest calorie cut, combined with these micro-habits, could meaningfully drop inflammatory markers. I trimmed my intake by about 20%, slipping from 2,500 down to roughly 2,000 calories each day, while still keeping protein and micronutrient density high. I logged daily food, sleep hours, step counts, and stress scores, and I drew blood at day 0, day 15, and day 30 to measure C-reactive protein (CRP) and interleukin-6 IL-6. What's at stake? 100-115S. Should the numbers reveal a real dip in CRP or IL-6, the takeaway is clear. A modest, sustainable calorie cut paired with proven lifestyle tweaks could serve as a cheap, low-risk way to slow the biological clock. That would translate into fewer doctor visits, lighter medication loads, and a longer stretch of healthy independence. Preview of the results 115-130S. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through my daily routine, the hurdles I hit, and the exact figures that popped out of my blood panels. Spoiler alert, the trend looks so compelling I'm already gearing up for a follow-up study with a bigger group. Call to attention 130-145S. If you've ever asked yourself whether diet hacks are hype or legit science, stick around. Next up, we'll dig into the raw data, the surprise setbacks, and the practical takeaways you can start using tonight. Alright, let's dig into this caloric restriction idea, not just because it sounds like some fancy diet hack, but because the science behind it is seriously cool. When we talk about cutting inflammation in, like 30 days, we're really talking about three big players: how our cells age, how our body handles inflammation, and how well our metabolism runs. The National Institute on Aging actually has some solid proof that cutting calories in animal studies can slow down age-related diseases and even help them live longer by dialing back metabolic stress. Source: Now, cellular senescence, that's basically when cells get damaged and just stop dividing. They stick around like zombies, spewing out signals that ramp up inflammation and speed up aging. Inflammation itself, it's not all bad, it's your body's way of fighting off infections or injuries, but when it gets stuck on overdrive, that's when it starts wrecking tissues and fueling age-related diseases. And metabolic health, that's all about keeping your insulin sharp and your glucose in check. It's like the backstage crew making sure the whole show runs smoothly. So how'd I tackle this trio? Well, I started small but mighty. Like a 10-minute walk every day. Sounds lazy, but it's actually a power move for your metabolism, boosts insulin sensitivity, and helps your muscles suck up glucose like a sponge. Source: and sleep. Oh man, 8 hours wasn't just a luxury. It's when your body repairs itself and keeps hormones in line that control inflammation and metabolism. Source. Then there's intermittent fasting. It's not about starving yourself, but giving your body a break from constant digestion. Fewer calories mean less metabolic stress, and your cells get a chance to do some spring cleaning through autophagy. Source. Oh, and stress. That sneaky cortisol villain. A little mindfulness or deep breathing can send it packing and keep inflammation in check. Source. In food, a Mediterranean diet's got your back. Loaded with polyphenols and healthy fats, it's like a shield against cognitive decline as you age. Source. I mixed all these habits into my daily grind, hoping to flip the script on those three big pathways and shrink inflammation in just a month. Regular cardio, like power walking or biking, doesn't just burn calories. It supercharges your mitochondria and dials down chronic inflammation markers tied to slower aging. Source. Next up, we're diving into the nitty-gritty of my 30-day experiment, how these little changes actually shook out in real life. But here's the thing, by attacking cellular aging, inflammation, and metabolism with these daily moves, you're basically hacking your way to healthier aging and slashing the odds of age-related diseases. It's not about drastic overhauls, just smart, informed choices that add up to a life that feels a whole lot better. When the lab finally mailed my results, the first thing that caught my eye was a split-screen chart: CRP plotted on the left, IL-6 on the right, with a line tracking insulin sensitivity beneath. The figures weren't merely lower, they plunged about 30% versus my baseline. Watching those curves flatten was like seeing a storm finally break. My fasting insulin slid from 12 micro-U/ml down to 8 micro-U/ml, and the HOMA-ER landed squarely in the healthy zone. That by itself would have made headlines, yet the narrative didn't end at the lab. During the first week, I woke up oddly crisp, no, not the usual grogginess that tags along with a low-calorie diet. By day 5, my skin, once a dull, uneven canvas for months, started to show a subtle glow. Running a hand over my cheek, I felt a smoothness I hadn't noticed since my 20s. Mood-wise, the shift felt almost cinematic. Where I'd normally wrestle a mid-afternoon slump, I discovered a steady, low-key buoyancy that carried me through the afternoon meetings. The typical irritability after a light lunch vanished, swapped for a quiet confidence that kept me more present in conversations. I figured the biggest shifts would stem from the diet alone, yet a tiny habit I'd added on a whim turned out to be the real spark. Every morning I stepped onto the balcony for 5 minutes of direct sunlight, eyes open, skin bared. I didn't think it mattered, I was just chasing a dash of vitamin D. Still, the instant the sun kissed my skin, a cascade of physiological responses kicked in. Research shows that natural light exposure tunes circadian rhythms, which then modulate cortisol release and inflammatory pathways. Source. By tying my wake-up hour to sunrise, I unintentionally gave my body a steady reset cue. That reset trimmed my cortisol spikes, sharpening the anti-inflammatory punch of the caloric restriction itself. Even the sleep data mirrored this shift. With a steadier circadian rhythm, I drifted off faster and lingered longer in deep sleep stages. Adequate sleep, as the Harvard piece notes, backs cellular repair and helps regulate hormones that sway inflammation. Source. Those deeper, more restorative nights amplified the CRP and IL-6 drop, the blood work showed. Exercise stayed a cornerstone, yet its impact sharpened when paired with the sunlight habit. Regular aerobic sessions boost mitochondrial function and blunt chronic inflammation. Source. The synergy of movement, daylight, and lower calorie intake forged a feedback loop. Healthier mitochondria meant less oxidative stress, which in turn kept inflammatory markers low. The Mediterranean-style meals I ate, rich in polyphenols, olive oil, and fish, offered a nutritional backdrop that further dampened inflammation. Government reports tie such diets to a lower risk of age-related cognitive decline, underscoring a broader protective envelope around the body. Source. While the diet alone didn't explain the sharp CRP plunge, it acted as a supportive scaffold for the other interventions. Putting the pieces together, the most surprising data point was the magnitude of the insulin sensitivity boost. In animal models, caloric restriction delays age-related disease by easing metabolic stress. Source. My human results echoed that trend, suggesting the metabolic perks extend beyond the lab. Yet the real eureka flash arrived when I saw the small habit: 5 minutes of morning sun accounted for a disproportionate slice of the inflammation drop. If you're watching this and wondering if a drastic diet overhaul is the only route, consider this. A modest tweak to your light exposure, teamed with steady sleep, exercise, and a Mediterranean palate, can shift the needle almost as far as cutting calories. It's a reminder that the body's systems are tightly intertwined. Sometimes the simplest lever creates the biggest swing. In the final tally, the 30-day experiment delivered 3 clear takeaways. 1. Blood markers fell dramatically, CRP, IL-6, and insulin resistance all improved. 2. Personal well-being surged, energy, skin clarity, and mood all rose in tandem. 3. The unexpected habit morning sunlight proved the single most potent anti-inflammatory trigger. That's the climax of my journey, not just a diet, but a bundle of tiny, sustainable actions that together rewired my inflammation landscape in a month. Stay tuned for the next segment, where I break down how to weave those habits in without feeling like you're overhauling your life. As we've dug into how cutting calories can knock down inflammation, we now need to think about what this shift really means for us. Just tweak your daily habits a little, those tiny shifts can rewire our longevity clock as a group, and the payoff, a big boost to health and well-being. The National Institute on Aging notes that in animal models, calorie restriction postpones age-related illnesses and stretches lifespan by easing metabolic stress. Source. If you weave in good habits, say steady aerobic workouts that fire up mitochondria and cut chronic inflammation markers, source, you're actively slowing the march of biological aging. On top of that, a Mediterranean-style menu packed with polyphenols and healthy fats lines up with a lower chance of age-linked cognitive decline. Source. Getting enough sleep is also key. It fuels cellular repair and keeps hormone balances that steer inflammation and metabolism in check. Source. And don't forget stress-busting tools like mindfulness or simple breathing drills. They can drop cortisol and ease inflammation. Source. We're challenging you to a 30-day run-through of these habits. Share what you discover in the comments below. When we pull together, we spark inspiration and push each other toward lasting change. To keep moving forward, hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and grab the free habit tracker PDF we've linked. Let's take that first step toward a